The opinions expressed on the Custody Queen Show are for informational purposes only and are not a substitute for personal, professional legal advice. The persons discussed are fictional and not based on actual clients.
Thought it was love, had kids in between. You can count on us, we're the Custody Queens. Yeah, you can count on us, we're the Custody Queens.
We are back, your Custody Queens, on another happy Saturday. Today we have a very special guest, Laurel Dykes. Hi. Thank you so much for coming. Laurel is with Olive Crest, and we are so excited for the holidays, and we're going to kind of get into some really cool stuff that Olive Crest always does. But before we do that, I want to kind of start off the episode with a notes to our younger self. All right, so I'm going to put Kristen in the hot seat, which, as you guys probably know, is what I do best. So, Kristen, we're going to have you take it away. What is something you would tell your younger self?
You know, I actually love notes to our younger selves because, you know, the 42-year-old Kristen has so much to share with the confused, you know, maybe insecure, and just kind of figuring out life, Kristen. There's so many different stages that you can go back to, but I kind of look at my, 16 to 25 as like a completely lost soul. Either just doing what I'm told to do, with respect to academics and college, and really just kind of being robotic and going, but unable to really appreciate and process everything that you go through life. So sometimes when I wake up at 2 a.m, I just start writing notes to my younger self, just as like a journal entry. And so I am super prepared for this one.
Oh no.
My note to Kristen, starting in your adolescent years would be to not give that much credit to what other people think about you, what other people think that you should do with your life, what career you should choose, what college you should go to, whether you should laugh more, smile more, or whatever it is this is your journey. And everyone listening, I am speaking, I have to tell this to myself. It's so much easier to say this than it is to do it. But I can tell you that where I'm at in life right now, people can say rude things. And, being a radio personality like me and Sam are, people always want to tell you what they think. Good, bad, ugly, what you're wearing, your voice, whatever it is. And do not let what other people think of you affect the way that you see yourself, because they are not in your shoes. This is not their journey. And at the end of the day, you're always going to have people that don't like you or that, will speak poorly about you. Do not give it that much weight. If you can learn that in your teenage years, you are set for life.
No, I really think that's great. It's like the idea of don't let people have too much power over you, and that's something that it's hard, right? Because critiques are hurtful. I joke around the office all the time. I say, look, I understand that I am not always the happiest person. Just to talk crap behind my back, okay? Because I'm sensitive and I don't want to deal with it. But it's a good point. Like, the more you allow people's opinions of you to affect you, the more you're implicitly shaping how you respond. And you don't, especially at such a young age, don't want to get backed into a corner. I mean, trust me, Kristen and I with Custody Queens, we have had our diehard people that love us forever, and then we've had some, feedback that maybe wasn't the nicest, and it is what it is, right? You just have to keep moving, but I think that's a great point.
Yeah, if I could think the way I do now when I was younger, I feel like there would have been so many years of just uncertainty or doing things to please other people or changing my hair because someone said that I would look better with darker hair. I feel like if I could just think the way I do now back then, it would have just been such an easier road, And I was doing my daughter's hair the other day, and she said, well, Mom, I don't like my hair like that. And I was like, why? You used to always love bows, right?
Right.
And on one hand, I know she's growing out of bows. I'm not there yet, so we agreed to medium-sized bows. But I asked her, I said, do you not like bows, or did someone say something about your bow, Yeah. Because I can see that she, at 8 years old, she is impressionable, and she is starting to hear things that people say, and it's forming her little, I can see her little brain kind of processing, and I try to teach her and my 5-year-old, who cares?
Yeah.
You do this for you. That is not that you are not living their life. And I shared with Sam this morning, I ran into a listener, a fan, so to speak, at a gymnastics competition that recognized my voice. And he thought it was important to tell me at 9:30 in the morning that he knows a lot of attorneys and, other people that, may not just like Sam and I. And then he followed up with, well, it's just because you're doing such an incredible job professionally. And if you would have told me that 3 years ago, I would have been completely insecure, and I probably would have been very upset by that comment. And now, you know what Sam and I think? Hey, people are talking about us. People like listening to us. I don't know this person. I don't know who his friends are. But if you've never met me and you don't like me, then that's your own issue, not mine.
Yeah, I agree. I think that is absolutely well put. And I mean, the truth is, it's very easy to critique other people. We can do it. We can walk through every day critiquing someone, saying how someone should do something better. I think it is a harder task to really make sure that what you are saying to someone else is powerful or positive for their life. And if you can do that, you can give a better sort of impression on people, and you can do more in life, I think.
Agreed. And unhappy people or people that are not comfortable in their own skin are the first ones to attack other people, especially people that they don't know or haven't had a working relationship or a personal relationship. So, again, sitting here at 42, I don't make comments about other people that I might have made 10, 15 years ago because I've learned life experience, right? All right, Laurel, what would you tell your younger self?
Oh, I'm actually ready for this one. One of the best pieces of advice I have ever been given was actually to always assume the best of somebody. I think that actually kind of goes along with what you guys are saying as well. You never know what somebody's intentions are. You never know what somebody else is going through in life and why they might be responding to you in a certain way. So just always assuming that they mean good, or just always knowing that there's more to what they're saying than what meets the eye, I think is really important.
That's really good advice, because I think being an attorney, I often take things at face value, and I may not come from that perspective, to be honest, but it is very good advice, because it's so easy to misinterpret feelings or font or exclamation points. But I agree. I think I'm going to actually implement that, and kudos to that. That's a good one.
Yeah, I think that's great. It kind of goes to what Kristen and I do every day, which is deal with parents and communication. And it's such a great point, is that one comma instead of an exclamation mark can be taken so differently. A space, all caps, the tone, and the way a parent receives something. I think the point really is even if somebody doesn't mean the best, if you are receiving it as good, then you're not likely to retaliate in response and go down this sort of tumbleweed rabbit hole.
Yeah, and becoming very defensive right off the bat. And, all these things we tell our younger selves, if we teach our kids this, which is the next generation of adults and humans, then the world will be a better place. And I know that sounds cliche, but if all the parents could take time to have, a 5-minute conversation with their kids, once a week about including people, about, not making fun of kids or what they wear or, what jacket they had on, then we can teach those kids to be better adults. And I have this conversation often with my older kids. Sometimes they'll make a comment, well, she's mean. And I have to say, maybe she had a rough night at home. Maybe she didn't get to her homework. Maybe it was just a bad day. And I try to teach my kids that there's isolated incidences. But if we can teach our kids what we feel today, gosh, there's so much promise.
Yes.
Love it.
All right, Sammy.
Oh, am I in the hot seat? I thought I was getting out of it. Okay, so notes to my younger self. I think I read this recently, so full disclosure, I stole it. But I thought that it was so powerful. If you're being told something or you're going through something in life, or I think it's really relevant to family law too, if you're going through a custody case or a divorce case, try to consider, when somebody tells you something or something happens in your life, say to yourself, is it going to matter in 5 years? Will this matter in 5 years? And if it will, okay, then maybe you should give it a little more thought. And sometimes the answer to that will be yes. But sometimes we get so stuck in like the micro of our life that we are fighting people unnecessarily, and it is literally drowning our energy day to day. And each of us have so many tasks to do in a day. I don't care what you do or what you are planning to do, there's a lot, right? So try to not allow other people to waste your own energy, because we only have so much, right? We're all tired. We're all living on coffee and Diet Coke and everything that there is out there. At least I am, and I need it. But I would just say to try to take that pause before allowing yourself to go on like a 2 or 3 hour. I mean, we all do it.
No,
but,
we all do. I'm sitting here thinking, you have these stressful days and then you have to come home and parent, or you have, a big project or a trial coming up or whatever it is in your life, because everyone has stressors. But if you think about how many nights of missleep you had and whether or not you remembered that stress
Right.
a year and a half ago. Now, obviously there are triggers in life and people grieve, and there are events that completely deserve that grieving process or the stress process or the lack of sleep. But I can tell you, I have lost way too much sleep over not being able to find marker pen caps because
You just did it. She
I
just did it over lip gloss.
and I know, and what's funny, I know Sam so well that I'm running around looking for this MAC lip gloss, and she's thinking, Kristen, we'll get you a new one.
Yeah.
But my OCD in my head, I dwell on things like that. And if I'm missing 2 caps on a marker, I have to throw that whole pack away and I got to go buy a new one. But at the end of the day, if I can't find a Paw Patrol car, should I let it ruin my day? And I have.
Yeah.
So, all right. So learn from us, everybody, So take people for their positive intentions without directly going to negative.
Focus on whether or not what is happening in your life right now is something that deserves the energy to continue to be frustrated or work through it.
And don't let other people's opinions of you or comments or anything about you really destroy you inside. Because you know what? It doesn't matter. And they're probably just saying that because they're unhappy with themselves. But learn those at a young age and teach your kids, everybody.
Love it.
All right, let's move on.
Okay, so let's get into Olive Crest and why we have Laurel here. So, Laurel, can you tell our listeners about this wonderful, wonderful thing called Olive Crest?
Yes, I would love to. So Olive Crest is a child welfare agency. We actually started about 50 years ago. And since we started, we actually have offices in Riverside, in Orange County, LA, Pacific Northwest, and Nevada. And one of my favorite things to share about Olive Crest is actually that wherever we have an Olive Crest office, we're the leading providers of child welfare services in that area, which really speaks to the quality of our staff, I think, and the love and care that they pour into our kids and families.
I agree, and I have been able to be a part of this, and Dane Holstrom, my dad, is actually on the board of Olive Crest, and he has been for several years, but I can tell you I've seen firsthand what the organization does for so many families, so many kids. We actually had an episode a few months ago, and we were able to share a little bit more about the story, and just, I know it was one of our most well-received episodes because we had so many people watching it on YouTube, we had so many people calling in. But this is just one of those feel-good stories.
So, Laurel, let me ask you a question. How did you get involved in Olive Crest?
Oh, that is a great question. I actually heard about Olive Crest when I was 18 years old. I remember hearing somebody speak about it, and as I was sitting there in the audience, I was like, this is for me. I don't know how this is for me. I don't know why this is for me, but this is for me. And immediately afterwards, I went up and spoke to the lady at her table, and I was like, is there any way that I can get involved? Is there any way that I can do a donation drive for you guys or volunteer somehow? And she explained some different ways that I could do it, or some different ways that I could get involved. And so I ended up actually doing a small donation drive for Olive Crest when I was 18, which is actually pretty crazy because now, almost 10 years later, actually,
you've been there for a very long time.
Yes, now 10 years later, I actually get to run all of the drives for Olive Crest, which is pretty wild. Yeah.
And that's one of the cool things about Olive Crest is that there are so many different ways to get involved, right? So foster parent, donations, and services like that, right? So can you explain to our listeners a little bit about some potential services if people want to get involved?
Yes, absolutely. So a couple of different volunteer opportunities that we have coming up is we have our Family Christmas Festival, which is happening in December, where volunteers can come and actually run booths for our kids. It's a really good opportunity. Yeah, it's a good opportunity to be able to actually interact with our kids as well.
And for anyone listening, this is the holiday season, people. So if there is a time to be joyous and to be kind and to be understanding and to give back to your community, it is now, okay? I make it my mission every year to add on to something that I might have done the year before for the community. And I love being part of Olive Crest. We at Holstrom Block and Park and Custody Queens, we do a toy drive every year. And our goal is to provide at least one present for every child that Olive Care has within their reach. And I can tell you, I think over the last couple years, we're 10 years in now and I think last year, we had a bunch of elves, including Sam and myself, putting playhouses together and, everything from cars, that you could drive to basketball courts to Barbie Dream House. We had our entire office being elves, but just being a part of that process makes you feel like a better human being. And now I have the luxury of including my kids in this process. A couple years ago, we did an adopt a family and, we went out and bought presents, but being involved with something where you get to see these kids and you get to see the faces, of these kids that are receiving your services, whether it's a donation, whether it's your time, whether it's your connection. I'm telling you, there's not much more in life that makes you feel that good.
I couldn't agree more.
Yes, and I want to say one thing. Every year when we come to pick up the donation from Holstrom, it is our staff's favorite thing to do because we get to see all the girls and take pictures and just have a really fun time laughing and getting to enjoy all of the things that have come from all of your clients and from all of your staff. It really makes a big impact on our families too. We get to come and unload the big truck. And I remember last year, we were like running through the halls being like, any staff who's free, help us unload the U-Haul, because we had to get the U-Haul back on time. But we always have fun just looking at everything, and then the smiles on our kids' faces when we're able to bless them above and beyond anything that we would have been able to do without you guys is just amazing.
Yeah, and I know that times can be a little tough and money can be a little tighter, but I tell everyone listening, put that Starbucks down for this week and go buy diapers, buy formula, buy some Hot Wheels. There is so much that you can do if you just plan, for that extra money. But I promise for your soul, it will pay it back 10 times. And when we started this toy drive, we had someone's the back of their truck, right? And now we have 2 U-Haul trucks. That's how much toys we have. And if anyone has ever had the liberty of seeing me in Target or seeing me shop, I can probably spend about $10,000 in about an hour.
She's
shopping.
not exaggerating. I have seen it done multiple times.
It's like that, remember that grocery shopping game show, where you try to get the most expensive stuff?
Supermarket Sweep.
Yes.
That used to be one of my favorites growing up.
I loved it
watching
too.
that show.
And it starts and the whole time you're like, go for the baby formula,
Yes.
go for the coffee.
As you get older, it's more expensive, right? So you go for the more expensive stuff. But having all of my staff do it, Sam and I got to wear, Santa hats last year, and every single person at Target and Walmart is looking at us like we are trying to steal every toy. And
in fact, someone pulled me aside and was like, wow, you have a lot of kids.
But you'll see us climbing up and pulling bikes down, but we really it's so important, especially when at this time of year. I cannot stress it enough. If you want to donate an unwrapped toy, or you want to send a virtual gift card or a digital gift, please, you can drop it off here at Custody Queens at any of our 7 locations. We have one in Riverside, one in Corona, one in Newport Beach, 2 in San Diego, and 1 in Marietta. But you can drop an unwrapped gift. It can be anything from formula, bottles, diaper, backpacks, art supplies, all the way up to a gift for any child. It doesn't have to be anything expensive. It doesn't have to be anything, super specific. I know the older kids do like some AirPods and those cooler things, but please find it in your heart and be part of this and be part of our journey with the Custody Queens, because we would love everyone to be on this journey with us.
And that's no matter how big or small the gift. And if there's a digital gift card, go ahead and email it to Kristen at custodyqueens.com, and we'll make sure that it gets routed over to Olive Crest. And really just anything you guys can do to contribute means so much to us, so much to Olive Crest, and most importantly, so much to these children.
Yeah, and we'll even give you a shout out, on our social media. If you donate a gift, we'll make sure that Sam and I give you a little shout shout out for participating with us in this journey, but you can drop the gift off or you can email it to me at kristen@custodyqueens.com. I do have a project manager that is in charge of specifically keeping a list, and you can also call us at 1-800-419-7772. That's 1-800-419-7772. So if you want more information regarding the toy drive, please visit custodyqueensonair.com. And if you want to know where to drop it off, feel free to visit the website as well.
Absolutely. Okay, Laurel, so let's talk a little bit more about Olive Crest for a second for all of those listeners out there. So how do you become, if you want to become a foster parent, what's that look like?
Yeah, so the first step for anyone who would want to become a foster parent is to go onto our website and you can fill out a form, fill out all of your contact information, and then our intake coordinator will end up reaching out to you. A lot of times what that will look like is just having a phone interview, a Zoom interview, and then there will eventually be a home inspection, and then from there we'll be able to get you approved to be a foster family.
And so what if you have no information at all? If you just say, okay, look, I want to be a foster parent, will you guys walk that person through all of the steps?
Yes, any questions you might have, we can answer all of the questions for you. And actually, the first Thursday of every month, we have what we call a family info session. It's virtual, so no matter where you are, you'll be able to attend. And you can log on there. We give a pretty good overview of what our foster care program looks like, as well as our Strong Families program. And then at the end, we break out into little groups, and you're able to ask any questions that might be on your mind.
And I will say, Olive Crest does an incredible job of making sure that you have the tools and the information. It's not like, you're going to look at a new car and you just start wandering down the car lots and, you're not sure if there's leather seats or if it has the Wi-Fi. Laurel and her team, whether it's you want to be a foster parent, whether you want to be part of the event planning or whatever it is you want, I promise you will get the tools, but you have to make the first step and you have to make the first call. But they will take it from there.
Does Olive Crest help kind of explain qualifications? Is there any educational component to becoming a foster parent?
Yes, we actually really pride ourselves on the amount of training we're able to give to our foster parents. I can't tell you the exact number of hours, but we provide a lot of intensive training, trauma-informed care, anything that you would need to be able to be prepared before you bring a young child or a teenager into your home.
Yeah, and that's one thing I also love about Olive Crest is, they help every family from the newborn babies all the way through up the young adults. And you guys used to have a program, a few years ago, I'm not sure if you still do, but it was for young adults that are transitioning from the 18 to the young adult. And for me, that is such an important time, in one's life that a lot of parents, say, okay, you're 18, you're out. Now imagine a 17-year-old who's been in foster care for a few years because there was some tragedy in his family. Well, we need to make sure those kids have even extra more training. How do you cook? How do you clean? How do you budget? I would say a checkbook, but I don't know that much of us, have checks anymore. But it's giving you life skills.
I have checks.
I know, I do too. And my husband makes fun of me. But I still use checks.
I love writing a check. I don't know. There's something about it.
Yeah, no. But those tools are so important. I look back at my 18-year-old self, and I did, move to Florida to go to college there. So I had to adapt fairly quickly, but I had a full support staff at home that, I could call my mom or dad crying, oh my gosh, I have a leak, what do I do? But that's what Olive Crest does. It's not, of course, these precious innocent babies that need help, but so do our adolescents as well. Yeah,
and I think that what's so important is the educational component. Whether you want to be a foster parent or not, it's really important to us and I think as a community for more people to kind of understand what the process is, what potential pitfalls are, what benefits are. And I just love and admire so much Olive Crest's system and how it is kind of this whole holistic, comprehensive way of helping children. It's not just, hey, let's place the young children because we can or because we have an extra parent around. It's really a community.
I love that you use the word holistic as well, because we like to use that word to describe some of our programs. We always try to put the needs of the children first. I have seen so many times our staff I guess for lack of a better word, die to their own needs in order to elevate the needs of the children that they're serving. And it is truly humbling and so beautiful to see.
Yeah, and that's really important for Kristen and I as well. You know, through the family law process and the custody process, it can be quite an emotional one. But ultimately, especially when you're dealing with a case with young children or even, children that are under the age of 18, is you have to consider that. And you have to consider what's in their best interest. It may be that, your client or somebody wants, some plan to kind of come to fruition, but then when you really look at the whole picture, what is best for the child, and that's often what we want. We want a comprehensive plan that keeps children out of court, because we don't want them in court. We want them to spend time enjoying their lives.
Yeah, our missions are definitely aligned with Olive Crest and Custody Queens, because as much as Sam and I love our clients, like she said, we hope that we give you the education and the tools to be able to handle some of these issues on your own so that you don't have to come back. And I am a huge believer in education, managing your expectations. What is the process? How do I get from A to B? If you don't have the tools to process all of that, your level of success is very, very low. And just like we do with our clients, and even just on a human level, I like to know what I'm getting myself into so that I can do my best, and that, as a parent, you have to always put your kids first. I always tell clients going through divorce, you have to put your kids before your own needs and the other party's needs, because they are the most important, and all children are, and I'm a huge lover of kids, and I know both of you are too. All right, guys, that episode went way too quick. If you want to listen to our past episode with Olive Crest, you can go to www.custodyqueensonair. Our past episode with Olive Crest is on there. We actually have a special performance from I don't think she's a child anymore, right? Is she?
No.
Yes.
No, she's a youth now.
She's a youth now, but she actually performed, and it was a great episode, one of my favorites. And you can learn a little bit more about the organization as well. And you can follow us on social media. We always post their events. We let people know how they can help. And you can also visit olivecrest.org. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us. It was a great holiday episode, so please remember what we said today. And Sam, be kind.
Be kind. Me and Kristen are rocking the Be Kind shirts.
Yeah, this is, in addition to providing education, we want everyone to be kind, and we challenge you listening to donate an unwrapped gift or a virtual or digital gift card or gift and send it to Kristen at Custody Queens. And
remember, let love rule.